Hello everyone, it is April. Today I'm going to share with you several summer reads that I really want you to pick up this summer. Let's dive in. We are creeping closer to 15,000 subscribers on this channel. And I am doing a $150 Amazon gift card giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber, leave a comment on this video, and like this video. Stick around until the end of this video and I'm going to get into more detail about the giveaway itself and how you can win. I have split this up into different categories. I've got a little bit of horror, a few thrillers, I've got a stack of contemporary books that all scream summer to me. So we're going to start with horror. For some reason, I reach for horror in the summertime. Now, I really love like a haunted house story in the summer. But anyway, we're gonna dive in. Now, the first one is my favorite horror book of all time. No one will be surprised. This is the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. I adore this book. This follows a book club of women in the early 90s. They get together every month, I think, to discuss true crime books. They're all kind of obsessed with true crime. They've become really, really close. And a person moves into the area and they think, especially our protagonist, Patricia, she thinks he might be a vampire. Now, I will say this doesn't take place only in the summer, but it takes place in the South. In particular, I think it takes place in Charleston. And it just screams summery vibes to me when a book takes place in the South. And I do think this is like the perfect summer read. It is spooky. It is a lot of fun. Honestly, I was laughing at times. It also has some really important themes in here about racism. And I loved this book entirely. So I would recommend the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. That is for sure. I would also recommend that you read The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay. Now, this takes place during a summer, and we follow two dads and their daughter when they have rented or owned. They're at a cabin for a little while over the summer holidays. And unfortunately for them, some strange people arrive at the cabin and they all say that they're not going to hurt them. They just need their help to save the world. And it's about them breaking into the cabin and their proposition and just the strangeness. You don't know what's going on all the way through. I will say, if you need an ending that's like, you know, like really, really clear ending, tied up with a pretty bow, this is probably not the book for you, but I loved it, and I think it's the perfect summer read. Let's move along to contemporary. Now, this is a book that takes place in the 70s, so I think that's like on the cusp of historical fiction meets contemporary. I love this book. This is Hum If You Don't Know the Words by Bianca Merez. And this follows two females in particular. We follow Robin, who is a white girl living in 1970s Johannesburg. Her parents die and she goes to stay with an aunt. And then we also follow Beauty, who is a Black woman looking for her daughter. Her daughter has gone missing and she's doing everything she can to find her. And there is something about this book. I think maybe, again, there are certain places that just make me feel summery, and South Africa is one of them. And honestly, this book will break your heart and also warm your heart simultaneously. I adore this book. Please read this. Oh my gosh. Next is a book that could borderline be a thriller, but it's a very dark. It's a book with a lot of dark humor. This is My Sister, the Serial Killer. I really enjoyed this. It is short, but it packs a punch. This follows two sisters. One of the sisters is a serial killer. The other sister is a nurse. And her sister, the serial killer, happens to off her boyfriends and then will say, oh, you know, it was for protection. I had no choice. And then the nurse sister will like help out by like disposing of the body and covering up for her sister, because at the end of the day, it's her sister and she needs to protect her. And then one day she's at work, she's working with the doctor that she secretly has a crush on, and her sister, the serial killer, walks in, and like her sister's gorgeous, and everyone, you know, can't take their eyes off of her sister, including this doctor that she works on with and has a crush on. And she's trying to protect this guy and also trying to keep her sister's secret. It was wonderful. It's very funny. And this takes place, where does this take place? Nigeria. And there is a scene in here with the sister, the serial killer, eating an ice cream cone and consoling one of her victim's family members. And it is hilarious. The ice cream is dripping and you can feel the heat. So I definitely recommend My Sister, the Serial Killer. It's a fun one. Another book that is not as fun, but also quite dark, is The Girls by Emma Cline. My goodness, this was really good. It's definitely a mixed kind of book. Some people love it, some people hate it. I personally loved it. This takes place in the 60s, and we follow a woman named Evie Boyd, and she's looking back on her life. And as a teenager, she was obsessed with this group of girls called the Girls. They were everything she wanted to be, and they lived together on a commune. And essentially, they were part of the Manson family. It's never outrightly said that this is about the Manson family, but you know that it is. It does end in some murder. And you follow her living with these people in the commune. And there's like portions in here where they're talking about like making juice and the stickiness and the heat. And I thought it was amazingly written because it's so visceral. So visceral. Wow. Atmosphere in a gross kind of way. Like I wouldn't want to be there, but happy to read about it, that's for sure. And last for contemporary, but I think this takes place, yeah, again, it takes place in the 70s, 1976. And I think this is on record England's like hottest summer ever. And in The Trouble with Goats and Sheep by Joanna Cannon, we follow these two little girls, and one of their neighbors has gone missing and they want to get to the bottom of it. So what they do is they go door to door and visit all of their neighbors and try to find out what happened to their neighbor. And as they go door to door, they are learning about their neighbors, but they're too little to understand what their neighbors are telling them. But you as the reader are totally absorbing all of those things. You're following this mystery. You're also following a mystery that takes place, I believe, 10 years before, that everyone on the street was involved with in that time as well. I loved every second of reading The Trouble with Goats and Sheep. And you can feel the heat. Holy man. Wow. I would love to read more books in England set during this summer. I should probably go searching for that. If you know of any books like that, please let me know. And now we're getting into thrillers. The first is like the classic thriller of all time. Oh my goodness. Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. In this book, we follow a woman who meets a man while she's working. She does not expect to meet this man, and he is Mr. De Winter. He is incredibly, incredibly wealthy. And he asks her to marry him, and she says yes. And so they go back to his estate called Manderley. And everyone there is kind of surprised that he has remarried so suddenly after the death of his wife, Rebecca. And the people who work for him loved Rebecca. And it's this awkward situation where, you know, the new wife is like, why are we still talking about Rebecca so much? And she's learning about Rebecca through everyone else there, through the objects that she stumbles upon that were Rebecca's. And I loved this. It is very atmospheric. And I remember, you know, feeling like I was there, feeling like there was a breeze hitting my face while reading this book, sitting on the grounds of Manderley. And it just felt so summery to me. So I'd highly recommend Rebecca. Now, my new favorite thriller book of all time is Beneath the Skin by Nikki French. And this again takes place in a very, very hot summer. We follow 3 women. They're incredibly different women, like nothing in common except they are getting these letters. They're getting these letters from this person who's saying lovely things to them about how beautiful they are and how he's been watching them, but that he also wants to kill them. And so you follow each of their perspectives and their reactions to these letters, the people around them reacting to these letters. It's very tense, and you are rooting for all of these women. The police do get involved. You want them all to survive. Do they all survive? I don't know. But, well, I do know, but I'm not going to tell you. I will say it did feel so hot because it takes place in the summer. I loved it. I loved it so much. Definitely read that one this summer. You guys will not be surprised to see Tangerine on the list. This is probably one of the most atmospheric books I've ever read. This takes place in Tangier in the 50s. We follow a woman named Alice who has moved there with her husband. And one day, this old roommate of hers, Lucy, just shows up out of nowhere. And this is strange because Tangier is nowhere near where they last lived together. And the last time they saw each other, it was really awkward, like unbelievably awkward. And so now she has to like host this woman. She doesn't know how to interact with this woman. She doesn't know if she wants her there at all. And then her husband goes missing. And it's about the awkwardness between the women, the tension between the women, all set with the backdrop of Tangier in the 50s. You feel the sand between your toes. Wow. Wow. So good. So I would recommend that. Oh, I would also recommend The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. It's all about a summer camp. And we follow a woman who, when she was little, she went to the summer camp, and the people that she was bunking with, the girls she was bunking with, went missing and never returned. The whole camp was shut down, but in recent months, the owner has decided to reopen, and she asks our main character to come and teach art. And our main character has been drawing these girls in her art ever since. Like she's been heavily inspired by this disappearance, and she decides to go, but like she's there to teach art, but also she wants to get to the bottom of what happened to these girls because she really liked them and she wants to know, and you find out. And because it's at a summer camp, so good to read in the summer. I will say I feel like any Riley Sager is a must for me to read in the summer. He always comes out with a new one every single summer, and every single summer I read them. Like I am up to date with him because I love him so much. Okay, and last but not least is The Chalk Man by C.J. Tudor. So The Chalk Man follows a group of boys. It is the summer, they're on summer holiday, and they interact with one another by putting these little chalk men at the end of each other's driveways to say, today we're going to the park, Today we're going to the library. This is what we're doing today. And they all get this chalk man one morning at the end of their driveways, and it leads them to the park where they find a dismembered body. Hooray! That is not really ideal and was very unexpected. And we follow these boys reacting. We follow the whole town reacting. I will say this is heavily, heavily influenced by It by Stephen King. So if you liked It, you will probably enjoy this. I personally preferred this to It just because it was really long, very, very long. And that scene in It, but I really loved this one. So again, set in the summer, perfect book to read in the summer. And that's it, you guys. Those are all of the books I want to recommend to you this summer. Please let me know in the comments below. Do you have any book recommendations for me, for everybody else in the comments? What books you think are the perfect books to read in summer? I would love to know. And I will chat with you soon. Bye. All right, with 15,000 subscribers just around the corner, this is your chance to win a $150 Amazon gift card. It's in Canadian because I am Canadian. And I hope that one of you will be able to buy all sorts of lovely books from your wish list with it. Now, in order to win, you need to first be subscribed to this channel, like this video, and also leave a comment in the comments below. After we hit 15,000 subscribers, I am going to pick a random video, randomize the comments, and pick a winner. So the more videos you watch, the more comments you leave, the more chances that you are going to have to win. Good luck to all of my bookish friends out there.